Don't know if you noticed the clouds this evening. Really quite interesting. And so every night here on Fox 9 News at 9, we take a closer look at the weather, try to learn something. So we asked Scott Dorval, or at least I did, to kind of explain some of this to us. Really, the clouds were just gorgeous in the sunlight, and but I don't really understand how it all works.
Yeah, did you notice the clouds? There was some of them had flat bottoms, some of them had flat tops as well. We'll talk about why that occurs. Usually you'll see the flat bottoms. This is a picture I took this evening. I was driving down a Ustick Road from Nampa heading towards Meridian, and you'll see here, notice the cloud bottoms are flat. This is pretty typical when you see these puffy clouds, and that was the case. There were several of them lined right up. They're bumpy on the top here, but very flat on the bottom. This has a specific name right here, and we could tell during the day, in the morning, before these clouds even form, exactly how high, pretty much exactly how high they're going to form. That is what's called the lifting condensation level. This was the scenario in the atmosphere today. It was 47 degrees at about 7 o'clock tonight. It was 5 degrees at the base of that cloud right here. So what happens during the day is the sun is warming. The sun does not warm the air directly. It's minuscule how it warms the air directly. It will warm the ground, solid objects like us. That's where we feel the warming, or the ground. The ground will then radiate heat and energy upwards. As that air rises, it cools. And so at 2,858 feet at the airport, up to a base level of the cloud at 10,000 feet, that's where the cloud then condenses and forms the cloud, and it's a direct line. This is the lifting condensation level, and generally you'll have puffy clouds above it. Michelle, you saw some flat clouds at the top. Those are little thunderstorms trying to form, reaching the top layer of the atmosphere where it's warmer aloft always, and so the clouds will then go up and then just lose their buoyancy and just flatten right out aloft. So interesting, definitely interesting look at the cloud cover today, and the bases of those clouds. If the air is dry, it goes all the way up to 5,000 feet. That air has to rise really far to get that moisture to condense. When you have humid air in the wintertime, the cloud bases are lower, and the cloud bases will be around 3,000 feet. Come summertime, when we get some of those thunderstorms, Michelle, we're talking cloud bases that are 10, 15,000 feet high, thunderstorm bases, and that's why it's so far for that rain to fall, it doesn't quite make it to the ground, and so we have a dry lightning that occurs and a lot of gusty winds. If you got interesting questions or photos, weather at fox9now.com. Michelle?
I can tell you this, Scott, I would have done a lot better in science had you been teaching me.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, some big news.
Here we have the moon. It's 1 p.m. and it does not appear to be solid. And it's only a couple miles away from the sun. Very close. While the bird's getting a charge in the tree. Electricity. Just like our lungs. Electricity tree. So just doing a little stargazing tonight. Getting in a positive space. It's important to do that. There's a lot of negativity, a lot of negative charge. And so I am dancing with the stars. Thinking more about them being schematics in the sky. All the constellations, all the lines that connect all the stars are misdirection. If we connect the dots a little differently, they are schematics for technology, architecture, free energy. And what a great place to put schematics and the stars. They never change. So you got your blueprint right there for all generations to come. Notice how it's drifting. See how it's drifting to the left? Look at that. It's flying forward, but it's also drifting. And that it would be, where I'm standing here, that would be drifting east. Flying south, drifting east. Still drifting. Drifting east. So interesting. The tail even seems to be shifting. Now here's one flying north, due north. A little harder to tell if that one's drifting at all, but it does not appear to be drifting east like they do when they fly south. Flying north seems to be holding its course pretty well. Yeah, when they fly south, they drift. Let's see here. Oh, he's actually turning. He's changing his course a little. See that curve? It's going east. It's turning east. Across the flat sky. Planes are flying across the flat sky. Yeah, he's turning. Look how slow he's going. Looks like he's going as fast as cars do. "65 miles per hour. Look how slow he's going. If that. Birds don't fly tree to tree. They sail. Finding the next power station to charge. They're not resting. They're charging. Collecting the electrical charge from the trees for flight. Sky is flat. It only looks curved because of our eyes. So I'm trying to find a good spot to get some footage of some planes. This is the airport. It's hard to tell on the camera, I guess, but all those hills are built up around it. There's all this coverage. So you really can't see the airport from the road. It's a pretty big hill. Yeah, they keep it pretty well hidden. Can't be seen what's going on. There's no vantage point of the runway from the surrounding area of this airport. It's all built up and then sunken down inside. It's like hilly all around it, so it's kind of sitting down in like a bowl. Can't see it. They do not want us seeing these planes, how slow they are coming in for landing and how slow they are taking off. They tell us, 150, 200 miles per hour at takeoff and landing. They're going more like 85, 90. Because they're lying about distance, perception. They want us thinking we're living on something bigger than we are, so we feel smaller than we are. It's about controlling our ego. And they do it with our perception. The sky is flat. It only looks curved because of our eyes.
The Braylorn mine draws thousands of dreamers to BC seeking their fortune. Soon, it will draw a dreamer from another time. With much fanfare, the bridge reopens in 1941 and is captured in a black and white snapshot that some 70 years later opens up a flood of controversy. The photograph shows a crowd of men and women wearing clothes of the day, suits, trench coats, dresses, a sea of fedoras. Nothing odd about that. But upon closer inspection, one man stands out from the rest. He sports funky sunglasses, a hip haircut, a t-shirt with a logo beneath a hoodie, and what appears to be a modern camera in his hands that makes one take a second look. Known as the Time Traveler, this internet sensation with more than 1 million hits has many wondering what brought him to Braylorn.
I don't know what happened here. We had everything in the world drop out. We got 3 fuel cell lights, an AC bus light, a fuel cell disconnect, AC bus overload, 1 and 2, main bus A and B out. Apollo 12 Houston, try FCE to auxiliary, over. FCE to auxiliary. What the hell is that? FCE to auxiliary.
The dramatic achievements in space which occurred in recent weeks should have made clear to us all, as did the Sputnik in 1957, the impact of this adventure on the minds of men everywhere who are attempting to make a determination of which road they should take. Since early in my term, our efforts in space have been under review. With the advice of the Vice President, who is Chairman of the National Space Council, we have examined where we are strong and where we are not, where we may succeed and where we may not. Now it is time to take longer strides, time for a great new American enterprise, time for this nation to take a clearly leading role in space achievement, which in many ways may hold the key to our future on Earth. I believe we possess all the resources and talents necessary, but the facts of the matter are that we have never made the national decisions or marshaled the national resources required for such leadership. We have never specified long-range goals on an urgent time schedule or managed our resources and our time so as to ensure their fulfillment. I therefore ask the Congress, above and beyond the increases I have earlier requested for space activities, to provide the funds which are needed to meet the following national goals. First, I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth. No single space project in this period will be more impressive to mankind or more important for the long-range exploration of space, and none will be so difficult or expensive to accomplish. Noted for strength, and we stand in need of all three. For we meet in an hour of change and challenge, in a decade of hope and fear, in an age of both knowledge and ignorance. The greater our knowledge increases, the greater our ignorance unfolds. Despite the striking fact that most of the scientists that the world has ever known are alive and working today, despite the fact that this nation's own scientific manpower is doubling every 12 years in a rate of growth more than 3 times that of our population as a whole, despite that, the vast stretches of the unknown and the unanswered and the unfinished still far outstrip our collective comprehension.